The good old days where everyone in your team would pick Mei and ruin enemies' day by pulling off a Donald Trump simulator for the next few minutes.
We're gonna build the wall, we have no choice.
Are gone and will not come back. Ever since Roll Q was added, it has become a standard, so basically when you think Overwatch, this is the intended way the developers want you to play. It very heavily reminds me of the way role selection works in League of Legends. Okay, never mind. To make sure everyone is on the same page, role selection is a tool that every player goes through before queuing up for a game of Overwatch. You choose what role you will be fulfilling for the game, and from the options given you can choose support, DPS, or if you feel very spicy, tank. You can also choose both or all of the options at the same time, and when you are thrown into your game, the server will automatically assign you one of those roles and it will lock every hero that isn't assigned to your role, just to make sure you aren't going to support your team by playing Doomfist. If you are not a fan of this system, you can always play the open queue! I said the open queue! Okay, what is it now? Open queue is basically an attempt to bring back the old system, or a way to satisfy those who complain too much about their role queue. There are no limits in choosing what hero you want to play. Your team is only not allowed to pick more than one of the same heroes. So basically everyone is just picking their main and you pray to God no one steals your hero. Now we can actually get to the main point of this video, which is straight up telling you why this whole concept is pointless. But before I do so, why not subscribe? I'm trying to get 1000 subscribers by the end of this year, and every sub matters right now. Thanks. Now back to the regular video. Blah, blah, blah. Overwatch 2, as you heard many times already, has reduced the amount of players per team. The biggest change being the 1 tank per team restriction. To recompensate this change, tanks have been buffed significantly so they can do their role more easily by either enlarging their health pool or making their abilities work in a different way. As I previously said, Open Queue has no restrictions, so everyone is able to pick a tank hero. You might see where this is going now. Combining all of the information provided, it is very easy to understand that an optimal team composition for Open Queue is to play only tanks and either 1 or 2 supports, leaving the DPS role way back in the dust. Every tank can win a 1v1 against any DPS hero in the game. Yes, even Reinhardt. The sheer amount of health that those bastards are walking with is just simply too good not to pick. You think that this still isn't enough? Remember, if you lack some health points, you can always pick a shield tank. And now with an addition of another tank hero with a shield, Ramatra, you can have up to 3 shields per team. There is literally no point in picking DPS heroes when you will easily be outdone by tanks. You could say that it's pointless. The 2 supports are self-explanatory. Tanks need to retain that sweet health pool to be the murdering machines they are, so a pocketing Ana or a strictly healing Moira is enough to carry their heavy asses. Going back to the DPS role once more, why exactly are they outclassed by tanks so much? It can't be only the health pool that is responsible for it, and DPS are known to shred through health like paper, but it's actually not that simple. Let's start with the actual Goliath of DPS that is known for countering tanks and shields, Bastion. He's the expert in tearing through layers of fat and barriers, and his mobility tools and the very crowd-controlling ult is really one of the best tools to use to counter this meta. Right next to Bastion is the good old reliable tank buster Reaper, and honestly, that's it. These are the only 2 heroes capable of countering the tanks, but even that might not be enough. Maybe we could throw Pharah Mercy into the mix of potential counters, but a skilled Hog and an aware Ana are both more than capable of shutting down this strategy. Heck, Roadhog himself is capable of shutting down most of DPS that are trying to do something sneaky. I did not mention that Reaper's ult, for example, is easily countered by the amount of HP the tanks have. All of them have more than enough time to react to this shenanigan and can easily burst him down, even if they don't do much damage. Because they are tanks, with enough teamwork, a single Reaper is no issue. Speaking of teamwork, assassin DPS such as Widowmaker, Hanzo, Genji, or maybe even Sombra are very useful in countering the beasts. Flanking behind or picking the most valuable target from distance will always be very useful. The supports are very important for the tank team composition, so even killing one of them might be enough to win the fight, because if you aren't playing against a Roadhog or maybe Sigma and Zarya, tanks have no way of regenerating their own health, so when their healers are down, it's time for the rest of the team to peel the rest to death. Sombra can also provide very huge value from her EMPs, even if she only lands on 2 or 3 tanks. It's enough to disable their barriers, lower their HP, and make them vulnerable to your DPS. Going back to snipers, what tanks are absolutely lacking in is range, so playing heroes who are capable to output damage in long range might be the key to victory. On maps such as Junkertown, the first point is 90% open space, so Soldier 76 and Bastion might be the smartest decisions to try and counter the tanks, in case the supports are being protected by shields too much. To wrap up this video, I think you can clearly see how much planning and cooperation is required to counter the brainless strategy of stacking tanks on top of each other and throwing some healers in to glue it all together. You can easily imagine how hard it is to counter this strategy if the tanks are actually playing smart and cooperating with each other. On defense, you have to face the very aggressive dive comp of D.Va, Winston, plus maybe Wrecking Ball to piss you off even more. And to add that cherry on top, give them a dedicated Lucio to follow them and a Moira that can always escape any situation to the beautiful safety of her team. Where on offense, good luck trying to break through a double layer of shields and the constant spam coming from Orisa and Sigma that won't allow you to pass through any choke. Thanks for watching and have fun playing open queue, but get ready because as soon as your team starts to lose, they might just go quadruple tank on your ass and smash you to the ground.